In a quiet, picturesque town nestled in the mountains, an air of serenity hung over the valley. The townsfolk knew each other by name, and life moved at a gentle, predictable pace. But beneath the surface, secrets festered, and one of them was about to unravel. Clara Hughes, a reclusive writer, had moved to the town 3 years ago. She had chosen the solitude of the mountains to escape the chaos of city life and to find inspiration for her next novel. Her house, perched on the edge of a dense forest, offered the perfect retreat. Clara had a routine: morning walks, writing in the afternoon, and reading in the evening. She rarely interacted with her neighbors, who, respecting her privacy, left her in peace. One evening, as Clara sat by her window, gazing out at the darkening forest, she noticed something unusual: a flicker of light deep within the woods, moving erratically. Curiosity piqued. She grabbed her coat and flashlight and ventured outside. The cool night air nipped at her skin as she approached the edge of the forest. The light continued to flicker, drawing her in like a moth to a flame. Clara followed the light deeper into the woods, the trees closing in around her. Suddenly, the light disappeared, leaving her in darkness. She paused, heart racing, straining to listen for any sound. There was nothing but the whisper of leaves in the wind. As she turned to head back, she heard a faint rustling behind her. She spun around, flashlight beam sweeping the trees, but saw nothing. Just as she was about to dismiss it as her imagination, a figure emerged from the shadows. A tall man stood before her, his face obscured by a hood. Clara's breath caught in her throat. The man didn't move, his posture tense, as if ready to flee. Clara tried to speak, but no words came out. Then, without warning, the man turned and ran into the woods, leaving Clara standing alone, her heart pounding in her chest. Clara hurried back to her house, locking the doors and windows. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The next morning, she went into town and mentioned the encounter to a few locals. Their reactions were mixed. Some dismissed it as a prank, while others seemed uneasy, exchanging nervous glances. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Clara began her own investigation. She discovered that several people in town had reported seeing strange lights in the woods over the past few months, but no one had been able to identify the source. The local sheriff, a gruff but kind-hearted man named Tom, had looked into the reports but found nothing. Undeterred, Clara delved deeper. She spent hours at the local library, poring over old newspapers and town records. She learned that the woods had once been the site of a small settlement, abandoned decades ago after a series of mysterious deaths. The townsfolk believed the area was cursed, and no one ventured there after dark. One night, Clara decided to return to the woods. Armed with a camera and a notebook, she set out to document whatever she could find. As she approached the spot where she had seen the man, she noticed something she hadn't seen before: a small, dilapidated cabin hidden among the trees. The cabin appeared deserted, but Clara felt a chill as she approached. The door creaked open, revealing a dark interior. She stepped inside, her flashlight cutting through the gloom. The air was thick with the scent of decay. As she explored the cabin, she found a journal, its pages filled with cryptic entries about experiments and strange rituals. Before she could read further, Clara heard footsteps approaching. She turned to see the hooded man standing in the doorway, his eyes filled with fear. He pleaded with her to leave, saying she didn't understand the danger she was in. But Clara, now more curious than afraid, pressed him for answers. The man revealed that he was part of a group that had come to the town years ago, seeking to uncover the secrets of the old settlement. They had discovered an ancient ritual that promised to reveal hidden knowledge, but something had gone wrong. The ritual had awakened a malevolent presence in the woods, a presence that now sought to claim anyone who ventured too close. Clara, realizing the gravity of the situation, agreed to leave. But as she turned to go, the cabin door slammed shut and the temperature dropped. The man cried out in terror as shadows began to swirl around them. Clara felt a cold, unseen hand grip her arm, pulling her toward the center of the cabin. With a surge of adrenaline, Clara broke free and lunged for the door, wrenching it open. She stumbled out into the night, the man's screams echoing behind her. She ran through the woods, branches clawing at her, until she burst into a clearing and collapsed, gasping for breath. The next day, Clara went to the sheriff and told him everything. Sheriff Tom organized a search party, But when they reached the cabin, they found it empty. The journal and any evidence of the man's story were gone. The cabin itself seemed to have aged decades overnight, its walls crumbling and covered in vines. Clara left the town shortly after, her experience too vivid and horrifying to stay. She moved back to the city, where she tried to put the events behind her. But she couldn't shake the feeling that the presence in the woods was still out there, waiting. And sometimes, late at night, she would see flickers of light outside her window, reminding her that some secrets are better left buried.